Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you are new, my name is Lily and I'm a Chinese transracial adoptee. Every Tuesday and Friday, I post videos about my experiences as a transracial adoptee. So if that's something you're interested in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and let's get into the video. Okay, I just chugged some of my latte, which means I'm caffeinated up and I'm ready for this video. This is actually the third video that I'm filming in a row, and so I hope that I have the same energy that I did before. How I start all of my videos. At the end of this episode, there are going to be 2 video recommendations specifically for you. That YouTube algorithm is really smart. It's kind of creepy, but it does its job well. And so if you are interested in more videos, please stay tuned for the end and you will get personal recommendations. But let's get into the topic. This one, I'm really not sure how it's gonna go because I have a lot of mixed feelings about it and I'm not an expert on it. I don't think I'm an expert on it, so we're gonna try it out. But this is just going to be kind of adoption episode, but about owning your story and sharing that and advocating, and my advice for advocating for adoptees and being on this social media adoption platform, because there's a lot to consider and it's more than just posting an Instagram photo, posting a video, posting a tweet, whatever. So if that is what you want to learn, let's get into it. So I've been starting to get a lot of questions about this one and just like, how did I get started? How did I continue? How do I post all the time now? How am I brave enough to do it? And I'll be honest, there are a lot of times where I'm not brave at all. And I just force myself to do it. I force myself to keep going. And part of that is knowing that other adoptees are getting something out of this. So that's the first thing. But say you want to start advocating, say you want to start sharing your story, especially to a wide audience on social media. I'm all for advocating and I'm all for owning your story and speaking your truths and living your authentic lives. But when you add social media into the mix, it kind of makes things a little complicated sometimes. And so these are just some things that I want you to be aware of and like my experience from doing all of this. I think the first thing, and we all know it, we all don't always really consider it and think about it, but once you put something on the internet, it's really there forever. I have deleted some stuff from YouTube just because I really didn't enjoy the video anymore, or I really just didn't feel comfortable having it on that space. And I've tested it out and I've dug really hard, and yeah, it took time, but I was able to recover those videos and find them, and anybody can do that. So just be aware of that. And this really just goes into giving a lot of thought into what you're posting on your page, because like you can live your authentic life and speak your truths and not be sharing it to the entire world. I would love if more people did it with me because then I wouldn't feel so alone. But yeah, you do need to consider a lot of things. And one of the biggest, I guess, pieces of encouragement that I see a lot is people saying like, well, if you're speaking your truth and they don't accept it, then they just don't deserve to be in your life. Like you need to just cut them off and whatever. And like, I agree that if people cannot accept you for who you are, they're really not worth your time. But I think it's also important to consider that that's kind of a privileged thing to say, and it doesn't take into account people who are in different situations who may not have the resources to cut off these people. Because what if these people are your parents who see you posting all of this stuff, they don't agree with you, they want you to stop, they're not accepting you for who you are, and you take this advice that, okay, then they don't deserve to be in your life. But you're also a minor and you have no way of escaping that place. What if you have your stuff discovered by people at work, they really don't agree with it, they're just completely against your truth, your authentic self, And then you're at risk of losing your job and you don't have the resources to support yourself in that situation. And so I think it's really easy to say like, oh, just cut them off, because really you're just thinking about these friends and these people who are not genuine and just people who really don't have a large impact on your life. Because like I know that some people that I work with follow me, and luckily for me they're very supportive and they actually enjoy learning about what I have to say, and we have conversations about it in real life. But if someone doesn't agree with it, I'm going to have to be able to defend myself and deal with that backlash. And if you are unable to deal with it, if you're unwilling to deal with it, then maybe don't post it on social media for everyone to find. Find a different way to let yourself be yourself until you're at a point where you can do those things. In a perfect world, people would just accept everybody for who they are, but life is messy and the world is messy, and people can be not accepting and mean and harsh. And so that's really, that's something you really have to consider, because I think a lot of people just stay really focused on, I need to share my true story, I need to be authentic, let me do that via social media. And I know that I was like that too, and I got lucky because I really didn't experience any backlash or anything from people in my real life. It was just from strangers on the internet who like to insert themselves into my life. And so just take stock of your relationships, your resources, where you are, and how you're going to deal with backlash, because it'll come. We just don't know where it's going to come from. I think one of the reasons that I was comfortable sharing on social media, and I'm still comfortable with it, is because I have established my core group, and I did start opening up about adoption in that group before posting widely. And so I kind of already had an idea of who would be supportive and who would be genuine and who would be there when I'm sharing this hard stuff. And I would recommend doing that for anyone, because I do think that the people who are genuinely supporting you have a, not right, but it would be nice for them to know your true self personally before just seeing you on a screen. And that might take some years to do. If you're impatient, then I guess, just go ahead and post. But it is a privilege to be able to do whatever you want and not care about what anybody thinks, because that means you don't have to worry about finances. You don't have to worry about where you're going to live. You don't have to worry about anything. It's just like, okay, bye. I'm good with my life. I'm set. And I think that's the biggest thing with social media. And I mean, I know like high schoolers think about it because they're like, oh, the colleges are going to Google me and they're going to see all this stuff. But once we're out of that, I think people kind of forget that once something's on the internet, the entire world can see it. And even if you use a screen name and you're not sharing it on your personal pages, people can find it, because the internet is really smart. And I talk about the algorithms a lot, but they find those connections and they will suggest stuff to you based on those connections. So seriously, be aware of it. And then one thing also kind of in the realm of that and like finding things is just like, consider your new friends, your new roommates, your new significant others. And I mean, here's the thing. When we meet a new person, like most of us do creep on them on the internet. Like, let's be real. It's 2020. We all do it. And just be aware that when you meet new people, they'll probably friend you on Facebook or follow you on Instagram and then see all of this stuff. And hopefully they're respectful. So if you say, hey, you know what? I want you to get to know me organically. I don't want you to get to know me through this. Or please hold off on watching this video until you watch this, or whatever. They'll be receptive to that and respect your wishes. I don't know if everyone's going to be like that. If those people don't respect your wishes, then yeah, maybe they don't really belong in your life. But since they're new connections anyway, I don't know if you really have that much to lose. But yeah, just be aware that once you start posting on the internet and people find it, when you start making new connections, they might know a lot more about you than they would have known had you just met without an internet presence. And then the last thing, And this is the big one that I talk about a lot, and it's oversharing and oversharing information that does not belong to you. I know that I focus most of those talks on adoptive parents because they're the protectors of the child and they're oversharing information about their child and then also oversharing information about the first family. But for the adoptees, like, I also strongly believe that we should not be oversharing information about anybody but ourselves. I mean, I think that rule pertains to anybody, but adoption is so complex and everybody's going through their journeys in their own way. And I think it's like, don't dox someone. Like, don't just share someone's identifying information and everything so then the entire world can go find them and judge them based on the one perspective they have, which is yours. And I know that many people don't agree with me on that. I know that many people are all about outing other family members or whatever. I'm just really not of the belief that you should do that, especially on a platform where the entire world can access it. Because we live in the world of cancel culture and doxing people and backlash, and I just really don't want to expose anybody to that toxicity just because of like one video that I posted when I was feeling one particular way. So instead, I just share about my experiences and I really try to focus it only on my experiences. So yeah, sharing your story, it can be scary, it can be invigorating, it can be validating, and it can bring a whole lot of issues that you really didn't consider before. And so, like, I'm not saying don't do it, stay off social media, all this stuff. I'm just saying consider all of these things and make sure that you have the support and the resources to deal with them before you start posting. Because if you start posting and something gets picked up and suddenly goes viral and then you get a bunch of backlash and you have no way of dealing with it, it's going to be much harder and you might find yourself in a position you really didn't want to be in. So yes, I would love for more adoptees to be out here advocating and sharing their stories because, you know, it's kind of lonely here. And it would be nice if the YouTube algorithm was suggesting adoptee videos to me instead of just the adoption mommy bloggers. So yeah, I hope that some of you will join me on this platform. But I can understand if you don't, because it's, like I said, scary and you're going to get toxicity and backlash in your life. So just be ready for it. And, you know, speaking of that algorithm, like I said at the beginning, there are going to be 2 videos recommended specifically for you, and they're going to appear in about 20 seconds. So stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next Tuesday.